Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another Real Madrid preview. This is the preview to Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid. Now, I am recording this again very late or early because it's currently 6 a.m. I obviously have to get a video out for, well, technically it's later on. Actually, it's tomorrow night for me, but for most, it will be tomorrow. Um, so yeah, I don't know why I didn't record like earlier. I was actually able to, but I just forgot. Um, so I'm recording this pretty early slash late, depending which way you want to see it. Which is why I have to be a bit more toned down, and I'm gonna apologize if you hear any birds chirping behind because, like I said, I'm recording this in the morning, and yeah, morning birds. But I also want to keep it a little bit shorter because it's early in the morning and I want to sleep. Look, my sleeping schedule, behavior, whatever you want to call it, is messed up. It's really bad, but whatever. Um, Full on commitment to watch Real Madrid. I might even watch this game. This Madrid derby. Look, El Clasico is usually quite early. Like it's like an afternoon. Like a 3 p.m., 2 p.m. kickoff game. I don't understand why Madrid derby is on at what time is it again? It's 9 p.m. Spain time, isn't it? And it's 8 p.m. UK, and that's 4 a.m. And I'm like, I suppose I do have to watch because I'm a Real Madrid fan, but yeah, it's gonna be another really, really tiring night and day. But let's digress from that. Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid in the La Liga. Now I was watching. I haven't watched them for a while. ESPN. Now they were talking about a lot, um a bunch of stuff really. Um and one and after they were done, I think they were talking about which player you would pick for a team or something like that. Um it went to the La Liga table, and I actually haven't looked at the La Liga table beyond Barcelona and Real Madrid because obviously we are 4 points behind Barcelona, and I knew that Villarreal and Atletico Madrid were third and fourth, but I didn't really know, or I didn't really remember sort of how far back they are from the top two and the distance they have to the rest, right? I thought Betis were gonna be closer. I thought Celta Vigo and Espanyol and whoever else are in and around that sixth to ninth, 10th area. I thought they're gonna be a lot closer. But Atletico Madrid are 13 points clear of fifth place Real Betis. That's shocking, isn't it? I could not believe what I saw. I was like, no way. I don't believe Real Betis have been this bad, right? And well, technically, you could say they have been. Technically, you can say that the rest have been better. But I mean, look, Atletico Madrid. I don't want to say this before the Madrid derby because they always turn up for it. But they are a weird side, man. Like they turn up for big games, and they are a good team. They are a good side, and I don't want to say that because I'm a Real Madrid fan, and it obviously doesn't sound nice to say that. They are a good team. It is a frustrating and annoying team if you're, their opponent, and less so a Real Madrid fan who, are facing them and everything about how their antics and just how they play. But they are a good team. They can be annoying, they can be frustrating, but they are a good team, which makes them, annoying and frustrating in what they do. There has to be something that they're good at. But they haven't really, I don't think, been, you know, that consistent. And to think that they are 13 points clear of Real Betis was really like a wow moment. But they still are 9 points behind Real Madrid. They are 1 point behind Villarreal, who have played their game extra game and they beat Real Sociedad yesterday, which means that um, for Atletico Madrid, if they lose, they will remain fourth. I don't think they really care too much about that. I think third and fourth, either ways, it's secured. Top four is secured. I don't see them dropping 13 points, and I don't see Real Betis or anyone else gaining that sort of, you know, amount of points in the next 9 or 10 games. So I think the top four is pretty much established. I think the top two, some would still argue that okay, is Barcelona gonna win it? Is Real Madrid gonna win it? And arguably, it's third and fourth that you're thinking, okay, who's gonna finish third? Who's gonna finish fourth? And I think if you're Atletico Madrid and you're Villarreal, I don't really think you mind in terms of. I don't think you're stressing over that. So usually you would look at this and go, it's a big game for Atletico Madrid. It still is. It's a Madrid derby, right? They want to win. We want to win. Both teams want to win. It is such a meaningful game for the club, for the fans, for the city, right? Whoever wins this. But the fact is, they're pretty much, if they win, they get the pride, they get the bragging rights. But what does this really mean for them? Not a lot, I would say. So I'm not saying that they will purposely lose or play badly. I think we will still see a very good side turn up. But I'm just wondering, they have got, obviously after this game, it is the international breaks. Um, so we could well see them just go for it before the break and try. But how many times um, have we actually seen? I just realized I put Courtois in a team. Oh my god! No wonder I've been so distracted. I had this feeling. I was like, I definitely made a mistake somewhere. I'll be right back. Okay, much better. I don't really know what I was talking about in terms of where I was leading that conversation to anyways. Um, this is why I shouldn't record at midnight/early morning because my head is gone most of the times. But yeah, Lunin is in goal now. Courtois is obviously out for a couple of weeks and could be quite a long injury for him. So it's Lunin's time to shine. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, I think this is still a big game. Atletico Madrid will turn up. They will want to win. But I just think for Real Madrid, normally there is no excuses. Atletico Madrid, they did went away to Spurs. They lost. It didn't mean much because they still qualified. But I would say they were a lot more threatened than we were to Man City. So I think physically, I think mentally, and even from a footballing point of view, we should have the advantage in every sense. We are at home. The only thing I can think of is they're gonna play, you know, their usual style of football, which we don't like to play against because we tend to struggle against those type of Diego Simeone teams. But it's no excuses. I mean, Arbeloa did really well across two legs against Pep Guardiola's Man City, who undoubtedly are struggling. They have their own issues going on, and we performed well. But I'm not gonna say it's a one-off, but I'm not gonna hype it up. And these are the kind of games that you have to win. I say this every single game. I say this every single preview. But from now until the last game of the season, the next 10 to 15 games, every game is a must win. Including our Clasico, yes. For our Clasico in May, when I do the preview, I will say the same exact thing. It's a must win. In the Champions League games against Bayern Munich, it's a must win. But whether we actually turn up and show up and get the job done, like we saw against Man City, it's a different story. Because the consistency of this team is honestly not trying to be negative, but it's a joke. Like, you can turn it on, you can turn it off at any moment, and that is not acceptable for Real Madrid. Like, you're playing for Real Madrid. It's not acceptable. So yeah, I mean, I am obviously looking at trying to be more positive. I we will get into the scoreline towards the end, but I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying now. Atletico Madrid. Let's get into them. For a little bit. Um, like I said, their last away game was literally in the Champions League, and they lost 3-2 to Spurs. Their last away game in La Liga. Um, actually no, they did lose. They did lose. They did lose 3-0. Yeah, they did lose 3-0 to Barcelona in the Copa del Rey second leg. Before that, they beat Real Oviedo 1-0 away. Before that, they drew with Club Brugge. They lost 3-0 to Rayo Vallecano. That was all the way back in February. Um, yeah, you know what I'm saying, right? They went to Levante, they drew 0-0. This is a weird team. This is a weird team. I mean, I'm looking at their results. You know, they if you look at home and away, both, they lost to Spurs, they beat Getafe, they beat Spurs, they beat Sociedad, they lost to Barcelona, they beat Oviedo. So far, so good. They beat Club Brugge, they beat Espanyol, and they drew the Club Brugge. So far, so good. But then they lost to Rayo Vallecano, they beat Barcelona, they lost to Real Betis, they beat Real Betis, they drew to Levante, they lost to Bodo Glimt, they beat Mallorca, they drew Galatasaray. Like, this is their spell from December into January, or technically January into February, is the definition of inconsistent. And Real Madrid, funnily enough, have been playing like that in terms of the results. So I don't know. Like, I think we'll turn up. I think we'll turn up. I'm trying to keep positivity. I'm trying to be positive. But yeah. Um, let's get into. I'm not gonna talk about players. I'm pretty sure we play them enough times that we know what kind of players they have, how good they are, and whatnot. So I'm just gonna go into the 11. So in goal is called. It's not Courtois. It's Lunin. I'm still thinking about that Courtois mistake I made earlier, but obviously Courtois did pick up a more serious injury than first expected. He did go off in the Man City game at halftime. It didn't look good, and unfortunately he is out. Now let's move on. We'll talk about the injuries as we go. Carreras, I think, is back. I think he has to start. As good as Fran Garcia was across the two legs against Man City, I'm not putting my faith in that basket. No. Centre backs, Huijsen and Rudiger, they were brilliant. They have been brilliant for the last 3 games. So yeah, I'm certainly going to put them there. I think Militao is still out. Raul Asensio should be fine, I believe. And Alaba is Alaba. So yeah. Trent at right back seems pretty fair to me. He has been ignored by Thomas Tuchel for the England squad, which doesn't look good because it's the final international break ahead of the World Cup, right? So, whoever gets picked or doesn't get picked, it sort of, paints the story ahead of the World Cup as to, whether you'll be picked for the World Cup or not. But Trent, he's a top player. I personally don't feel like he has to be picked to justify how good he is. I think if he doesn't get picked in the end, it's a good thing for Real Madrid because, you're not risking a player to injury. But for him, I think it's a good thing as well because it's a good player who has got good qualities, good traits, and very unique ones that I don't think the England team has. So, I don't know. Like, a lot can still change if he has a good end to the season, a really strong one. I do expect him to get picked, but look, for him, it's hard to say, right? Because I think every player wants to play for their national team. But just look ahead. Work hard, stay fit, stay injury free. You've got a big end to the season coming up. You end well, you end strong. You never know. And yeah, I would start him. Midfield, Chouameni. Yep, I would still go with Goulet, even though Bellingham's back. The last time Bellingham came back from an injury, the last time he was rushed back in for no reason, we lost 5-2 to Atletico Madrid. So I don't want to tempt fate twice. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That should be the quote that Arbeloa is thinking when it comes to what happened to Xabi Alonso. Because if he's gonna look at what Xabi Alonso did and think I'm gonna do the same thing, and he gets fooled again, forget about it. And then I'll go Thiago Pitash. Now, I put it as a 4-3-3. I don't think we are gonna set up exactly like this. I think it's gonna be a really free roam formation. It would be interesting if we're gonna go to a diamond midfield, because I think Thiago Pitash coming into the team, has probably given us a great balance in terms of being able to play that diamond shape. He's not a Toni Kroos replacement. He's not a Luka Modric replacement. But he is as good as we have at the moment in terms of those kind of players. No one will ever replace Modric and Kroos. But apart from, I would say, Ceballos at times, like, who else do we have at this club that can do the job? Like, who? I just can't think of anyone in the team that can do the job. I have said before that if you play certain midfields, you'll get more balance, but we still lack someone like Vitinha. And I don't want to talk about transfer rumors too much, but Sandro Tonali, I watched Newcastle against Barcelona midweek, and the second half they were hammered. But that first half, he was running the midfield with the likes of Pedri on the pitch. He was the best man on the pitch in the midfield. And I'm thinking, yeah, I would take him. Because he is a player, the definition of a player, who is a great player, probably bigger than the team he's at, better than the team he's at. So, someone like him, but yeah, we're jumping the gun right now. Thiago Pitash, he's almost certainly gonna be with the first team for next season now, which is great because he's a good player. In the attack, like I said, Valverde, I don't think will be a right winger, but who knows? And then Mbappe is back. Because I think he's slightly ahead of Bellingham in the recovery, I think Mbappe should start. And I'll go Vini Jr. as well. So that is the team. Score predictions. I'm gonna go. Real Madrid 3, Atletico Madrid 1. I think they will score. I think, yeah, I mean, they have got good players, man. Alvarez, Lookman, Griezmann, they'll definitely score. But I just think our defense, if Real Madrid can defend well and minimize not just the goals but the chances, and if we concede one goal or maybe even 2 goals, but we score more and we win, I'll be relatively content because of what's going on at the club right now. And look, I said this before, we shouldn't adapt and change our, standards because of these players. And technically what I just said there did. But this team, I think, has good momentum. And if we can beat Atletico Madrid, even if it's a 3-1 win, I would take it. I would, because you're going to the international break now. Players are going. Some players are staying. and I think it's a good momentum. You get the good break for the players that are staying. The players that are going will continue to get their game time and their match sharpness, their match fitness going. And then you come back, you've got Champions League back. You know, El Clasico is after that in a month, so lots of big games. But that'll be it. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the bell state, subscribe. The channel's on already. I'm gonna go to sleep because I am turning crazy. And yeah, peace.